Okay. Hi. I'm Ellis. I'm one of the psychologists over here at Sojourn Psychology. One of the things that we're talking about today is attention span and focusing attention. Um, with the quarantine and the stay-at-home placement that we're at right now, one of the things that I'm noticing that is difficult is actually being able to concentrate for long enough periods. I don't know, Tara, if you're, what are your thoughts on that? But like, I think like right now, one of the challenges is because there's so much openness on versus when we had scheduled time and scheduled breaks where we had to be organized. Now we have to create organization for ourselves. And because of that openness, it's created difficulty with being able to focus long enough, to pay attention long enough to complete things, to feel productive. Um, I don't know, Tara, what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, Ellis, and I do really appreciate the term chunking goals. So the idea of chunking goals is that we just take a set period of time or a set piece of content or a set task. I think that with schoolwork in the past, when I've chunked goals for myself, something that I would do is I might set like a page goal. So I'd say I'm going to read 10 pages or I'm going to read a chapter and then I'm going to take a break. That's one of the ways that I've used chunking goals. What
Hmm.
about you, Ellis?
Well, I think that's actually maybe one of the most important ones that I do too. And what I really liked over there, what you said is observable, measurable goals. So I like that because sometimes if you make a goal that's like, I'm going to work hard for the next 10 minutes, well, it's actually really hard to ascertain whether you've actually achieved that goal. And if you can't really know what goal you're trying to achieve, you're not setting yourself up for success because you don't have a clear target. So I love what you're saying over there, having clear set numbers so you know that you've achieved it. I think that that helps you have a clear idea of where to work for, and then B, it also gives you a sense of satisfaction because you know you've actually achieved the goal. If
Yes.
you're anxious and down on yourself, it's easy for anxiety to create that doubt and say, "Hey, actually, you weren't working hard today." And so being able to have hard goals like that, I think, is super helpful for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing that I really like is to write lists. So sometimes I'll do it on my phone, but I really prefer like stick notes. So I love a good stick note with a lot of tasks on it. I will make my list really complicated and detailed because the satisfaction of crossing something off that list is so worth it.
Mhm. Yeah, I really like physicality over there, especially because I think like again, I really weigh heavily on the observable, measurable, and that really becomes manifested in a physical note where you're physically crossing it off. I like to use a big black Sharpie marker and just cross it off when I feel I've done something, and it's a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, exactly. And like under the umbrella of attention span, this idea of chunking goals and what is measurable and manageable. I also think with kids and chunking time and goals, make sure you have backup plans. So for my kids, because my kids are little, I have Play-Doh, I have slime, I have sticky putty, I have markers, I have crayons, I have coloring books, I have stickers. So when they want to craft, I have like multiple plans that I can do. And then with toys and play, there's several games that I know work for them. So I try this one, it lasts 5, 10 minutes. Try this one, 5, 10 minutes. What about you, Ellis?
Yeah, I think that's a really nice way to put it, where you broke things up into little like distinguishable chunks. Because I think like one of the things that we'll see is that if you give them like a big box of everything, it all none of it you lose the novelty of it. So they you desensitize it to it, and then it becomes less exciting, less stimulating, and then you can't concentrate anymore. So I like what you're saying over there because if you break things up like into centers, like often schools will have that. Well, they'll have a center for like paint, and then a center for clay, and then a center for coloring markers. But the novelty of that also helps with the concentration and attention as they switch between the different items. So it's definitely something that I think would be more useful rather than putting it all together into one big box and letting them have at it. That
I
might help
like
a little
that.
bit with them.
Yeah, I think I never really thought about it before, but creating zones in your house, and actually with my kids, they know where the craft zone is and they know where the play zone is and they
Mm,
know where the like race zone is because they like to race around.
sure.
Um, the other thing is like, okay, as we create this structure, it's making space for nothing. So sometimes that's a way to contain this feeling of I am just endlessly, aimlessly doing nothing. Well, why not just schedule in the nothing? Here's my break. And
Sure.
then there's this containment and this satisfaction of like, this is what I'm supposed to do, you know?
And I think the nothing part too, if we look at like free time, let's say in a school schedule where it's nothing, the joy in the nothing is because you don't have a constraint anymore on you, as opposed to just nothing in and itself being exciting and stimulating. So if you don't have that contrast, nothing isn't necessarily a fun thing. Free time and only having free time isn't exciting on itself. It's because we've been constrained, we've been working towards tasks, and now we can let go. So I like that idea where like nothing is a scheduled time and on its own. Like we've worked hard, and then now we have like a space to be okay and just say, hey, there's no other pressures right now on us.
Awesome. Okay, let's wind things down. Thank you so much, Ellis.
Yeah,
And
thanks,
we
Jen.
will do this again. So take care.